You had the perfect week mapped out. Every task had a block. Every block had a purpose. You'd done everything the productivity experts told you to do, and by Wednesday, you were exhausted, behind, and wondering what was wrong with you. Nothing was wrong with you, but something was being missed, and it wasn't in your calendar. What nobody talks about when they hand you a time blocking template or recommend an AI scheduling app is this: focus is not a time management problem. It never was. It's an internal one. And until we look there, at the voice running quietly in the background of every work session, no system, no matter how elegant, is going to give us what we're actually looking for. Here's a tension worth sitting with. We have more productivity tools available to us right now than at any point in history. AI can schedule our week, batch our tasks, and protect our deep work hours. And burnout rates have never been higher. That's not a coincidence. That's a signal. The assumption underneath almost every productivity system is that if we can organize time well enough, focus will follow. So we build tighter schedules, add more structure, install another app, and for a while it feels like it's working, because the activity of organizing mimics the feeling of progress. But here's what I've come to understand, and what the research increasingly supports. Focus is not a byproduct of chronological discipline. It's a byproduct of emotional regulation. When your nervous system feels safe, when the internal environment is calm, attention settles naturally. You can sit with a hard task. You can tolerate the discomfort of not knowing the answer yet. You can begin. But when there's a low-grade current of anxiety running underneath the surface, a quiet voice asking, "Am I behind? Am I doing enough? What if this isn't good enough?" No calendar block in the world is going to hold your attention, because your brain has already decided there's a threat to manage. That notification wasn't the problem. It was the relief. So the question worth asking, the one this video is really about, isn't how do I block my time better? It's what is the voice inside my head saying about this work? And is that voice helping me or quietly sabotaging everything I'm trying to build? Most of us have a set of internal scripts we run without ever examining them. They're not dramatic. They don't announce themselves. They're quiet, familiar, and they've been running so long, we've stopped noticing they're there. They sound like, "I should be further along by now. Why is this taking so long? I don't have enough time to do this properly. If I can't do this well, what's the point?" These are the scripts that trigger the urge to check your phone. Not boredom, not weakness, the anticipation of failure. The moment your brain calculates that the gap between where you are and where you think you should be is too large, before you've written a single word, before you've opened a single tab, the anxiety loop begins. And here's what makes this so insidious. The anticipation of failure creates more cognitive load than the actual complexity of the work. I want you to hear that clearly. The story you tell yourself about how hard this is going to be, about how behind you already are, about what it means if you don't get it right, that story is more taxing on your brain than the work itself. Physiologically, here's what's happening. When we're calm, our prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for sustained attention and creative thinking, is online and available. We can hold complexity. We can tolerate uncertainty. We can begin difficult things. But the moment the internal script tips into self-criticism, the threat detection system activates. Cortisol rises. Our attention narrows, not toward the work, but toward the perceived danger. And in that narrowed state, deep work becomes neurologically unavailable. Not difficult, unavailable. You're not lazy. You're not undisciplined. Your brain is doing exactly what a threatened brain does. It's scanning for exits. So how do we actually work with this? The ground framework that anchors this channel begins with 2 steps that matter deeply here. Gather and reflect. Before you can rewrite a script, you have to hear it. Here's a framework I call the Friction Point Audit. It has 3 questions, and it works best when you spend 2 or 3 days simply noticing, not fixing, not judging, just noticing. Question 1. When did my attention break? Not why, just when. Note the moment. Was it before you opened the document or 10 minutes in? Was it when the task got hard or before it even started? The when tells you more than the why at this stage. Question 2. What was the thought just before? This is the one that requires practice. Most of us can identify the distraction, the phone, the task switch, the sudden need to reorganize our desk. Fewer of us can identify the thought that came just before the distraction felt necessary. That thought is the script. That's what we're looking for. Question 3. Was I planning or performing? This is the line between productive thinking and self-sabotage. Planning sounds like, I'll start with the outline and work from there. Performing, self-sabotage in disguise, sounds like, this needs to be good. People are watching. I can't afford to get this wrong. The moment you shift from planning to performing, you've left the work and entered the evaluation. And nothing kills creative momentum faster. One more thing worth examining: the language we use to label our work. When we call something high stakes, even privately, even just to ourselves, we trigger a defensive posture in the brain. High stakes means there's something to lose, something to protect. And a brain in protection mode is not a brain in creative flow. It's not that some work isn't genuinely important. It's that the label high stakes often does more harm than the actual importance of the task warrants. The task doesn't get harder when you call it that, but you do. Map your friction points honestly. Where does mental resistance consistently show up? Before certain task types, at certain times of day, after you check your metrics, your comments, your inbox. The pattern is always personal. And once you can see it, really see it, it loses some of its automatic power. Here's where we do the actual work. Not the hustle kind, the quiet kind. The kind that happens before you open any app or sit down at any desk. The first shift is from judge to observer. The inner critic that most of us carry into our work sessions isn't just unhelpful. It's actively raising the cost of entry. Every time you sit down to do something hard with a voice in your head, grading the attempt before it's begun, you're starting from a deficit. The goal isn't to silence that voice. Trying to silence it gives it more power. The goal is to step back from it, to observe it the way you might observe the weather. Oh, there's that thought again. The one that says, this isn't good enough yet. Named, it becomes information. Fused with, it becomes identity. And this is where language becomes a genuine tool, not affirmations. I'm not asking you to convince yourself of anything you don't believe. Specific, small linguistic shifts that change the relationship to the work. I must finish this. I am exploring this. Finishing is a verdict. Exploring is a process. When you're exploring, there's no failure state. There's only discovery. The same task, the same output, the same deadline, but the internal posture is entirely different. I need to get this right. I want to see what's possible here. Getting it right assumes there's a right to get. For most creative and strategic work, there isn't. Not at the beginning. Seeing what's possible opens the door instead of locking it. I'm behind. I'm here. And here is where I start. Behind is a comparison to a story. It's a measurement against a version of this moment that doesn't exist. Here is real. And from here, you can actually move. And when distraction happens, because it will, and it should, because you're human, the reframe is this. Distraction is data, not defeat. It's telling you something. Maybe the task needs to be broken smaller. Maybe your energy is lower than you accounted for. Maybe the anxiety loop got loud for a moment. None of that is failure. All of it is information you can work with. The session isn't ruined because your attention broke. It's only ruined if you decide that it is. Everything we've talked about today points toward one thing: agency over the story you're telling yourself about your work. Not control, agency. There's a difference. Control tries to eliminate the hard parts. Agency learns to move through them. When you've done the work of auditing your friction points, shifting your linguistic relationship to your tasks, and building a narrative that treats distraction as information rather than indictment, something changes in the quality of what you produce. Not because you squeezed more hours into the day, because the hours you do have are inhabited differently. I want to offer you a different measure of a productive day. Not tasks completed, not hours logged, not the ratio of planned to actual. Ask instead, was I present for the work I did? Did it have my real attention, even imperfectly? Did I bring something genuine to it? Because here's what I've noticed, and maybe you have too, that the work that means the most, the pieces of output that actually move something forward, rarely came from the most scheduled days. They came from the days when something settled, when the inner noise quieted enough to let real thinking happen. That's not an accident. That's what becomes possible when you stop managing your minutes and start tending your internal state. The ground framework lives here, in this inward-facing work, gathering what's actually true about where you are, reflecting on the patterns without judgment, opening to a different way of seeing the session, the task, the day, understanding what the friction is really pointing at, nurturing the conditions that make deep work feel possible, and developing, slowly, deliberately, a version of yourself that doesn't need the perfect circumstances to begin. The stopwatch will always be there. The calendar, the system, the next tool that promises to solve the problem of scattered attention. They'll always be there. But the question worth returning to, again and again, is the quieter one. What are you telling yourself about this work? Because that story, more than any schedule, more than any technique, more than any timer, is what determines the quality of your focus. And unlike the clock, it's the one thing you can actually rewrite. If this landed for you, I'd love to know which part hit closest to home. Drop it in the comments. And if you want to take the Friction Point Audit into your week, the reflection template is in the resource library, linked below. It'll walk you through all 3 questions across 5 days. I'll see you in the next one.